Since his childhood, Itachi Uchiha was quiet and insightful. He lived at a distance, observing individuals and ideas without getting directly involved, so he can fully understand them. Although this prevented him from becoming close to many people, it enabled him to think and act without prejudice or preconceptions, instead evaluating things strictly on their own merits. He would think about shinobi and origins of the village and its future. For this reason, he never had the self-righteous loyalty to his clan that's so common among the Uchiha, the curse of hatred. Although he loved his family and wanted the best for his clan, he knew there were more important things than the Uchiha's aspirations. Despite being a pacifist, Itachi felt his own needs were secondary to the greater goods. To that end, he became a shinobi. He trained tirelessly to improve himself as quickly as he could and subjected himself to the shinobi life's inconveniences without complaint for the simple motivation to be useful to others. Being an accomplished ninja enabled Itachi to approach problems less violently than others would, satisfying his peace-loving nature. These two extremes of his personality came into conflict as events towards the Uchiha clan downfall. He did not want to harm his family and sought a peaceful resolution, but knew the path with the least bloodshed would be the clan's extermination. As the inevitability of the clan's massacre became apparent, Itachi's normally polite attitude to his clansmen became more violent, criticizing them openly and lashing out at them for the choices that sealed their fates and his own. Despite the trauma he endured from killing his parents, Itachi did not blame those among Konoha's leadership who gave him the mission. Though he did not trust Danzo on a personal level, he knew Danzo only had the village's best interest at heart. But Itachi, partly out of the necessity of his assignment to join Akatsuki, was greatly changed after the massacre, never showing any emotion. He became more prone to displays of force and permitted certain violent habits of Kasami under the pretense that it furthered Akatsuki's goals. Itachi could not and would not fully shake his pacifistic ways and would run from a confrontation or reign in Kasami, and the likelihood of collateral damage became too high for themselves and others. While Kasami would sometimes protect, he considered Itachi a good friend and followed his instructions. Protecting Konoha was always the forefront in Itachi's mind, but it was his dedication to Sasuke that always his main priority. From the time Sasuke was born, Itachi tasked himself with looking after him. They'd spend whole days together in the woods, having adventures and accomplishing self-appointed missions. When Itachi became an accomplished ninja and took much of their father's attention, he would make special time for Sasuke in order to make him happy. Sasuke, wishing to be like his older brother, would often ask Itachi to train him. Itachi almost never did so, poking him on the forehead and promising to train him next time, none of which were never kept. It was Sasuke's safety that ultimately convinced Itachi to go through with killing the rest of the Uchiha, believing his own damnation was worth it if it meant Sasuke's survival. Even though he did it for Sasuke, Itachi wanted to be punished his crimes and decided Sasuke would be the one to take vengeance against him. To push Sasuke towards this direction, Itachi lied about his reasons for the massacre and took on the persona of a man who never loved his brother. His actions in Akatsuki were meant to reinforce this persona, and whenever he met Sasuke over the years, he would taunt his weakness and encourage him to get strong enough to kill him. His plan was that, once he had been killed, Sasuke would be hailed as a hero. Itachi never wanted Sasuke to learn the truth surrounding the Uchiha's demise, and if he did, Itachi hoped the memory of a hateful brother would cause Sasuke to not believe it. After he died and was reanimated, Itachi discovers that his plan largely failed. Sasuke is not a hero, he did find out the truth about what Itachi did and now aims to destroy Konoha. Naruto points out the flaw in Itachi's plan. He had been trying to manipulate Sasuke rather than be honest with him and trust his own strength. Acknowledging this mistake, Itachi is free to be himself instead of the persona he fabricated, being openly kind to others and displaying a dry sense of humor, even in stressful situations. He is finally open with Sasuke when they meet again, admitting what he did and even sharing information Sasuke did not know about. He apologizes to Sasuke for failing in his responsibilities as an older brother, wondering if being honest with Sasuke from the beginning might have prevented the Uchiha's demise. In their final moment together, Itachi tells Sasuke that he does not need forgiveness and that he will always love him no matter what. A child whose genius manifested at a young age, Itachi's teachers at the academy noted that his progress hardly required any help, having been quickly promoted through the ninja ranks while still a child, further showing his remarkable capacities and ultimately gaining great prowess with all of the three main types of techniques. In his battles, Itachi was shown to be an immensely powerful ninja and gained praise from allies and foes alike. During his battle against Kakashi Hatake, Kurenai Ikki, and Asuma Saratobi, Kakashi commented that Itachi was not fighting with even half his strength despite clearly pressuring his enemies. Orochimaru, reputed as one of the three legendary Sannin, openly admitted Itachi was stronger than he was. Toby has also stated that Itachi never ceased to amaze him. Despite his own impressive abilities, Itachi never underestimated his opponents, given his praise of Jiraiya, in which he noted to Kasami that, provided he had the latter's help, if he fought Jiraiya, they would either kill each other or Itachi himself would lose. Even on the verge of death, Itachi was still too strong for Sasuke to defeat in their final battle, and though he was pressured by his brother repeatedly, he eventually turned the tides while still holding back and could have killed him had he actually wanted to. As an Uchiha, Itachi's chakra was naturally strong, but his actual reserves were greatly diminished due to his terminal illness. Under normal circumstances, just 3 uses of his Manjukam Sharingan in a single day made him unable to use his Sharingan, and he would require significant bed rest afterwards to regain his strength. This prevented him from participating in prolonged battles and limited his usage of powerful techniques a day before needing significant rest, and it was overexerting himself in his battle with Sasuke purposefully that led to his death. Itachi had very refined chakra control, however, which compensated for this, even able to perform his techniques with one-handed seals. Although not his preferred method of combat, Itachi was extremely skilled with Taijutsu, enough to easily defeat 3 members of the Konoha military police force at the age of 11. He also effortlessly countered Sasuke's attacks and brutally beat him in their first fight, despite Sasake's Taijutsu skills at the time rivaling Rock Lee, and could still outmatch Sasuke in close combat, unarmed even when Sasuke was using his sword and having greatly improved. He had exceptional speed and reflexes, rivaling Shisui's own renowned speed. His quickness was particularly noted with his hand movements, able to make hand seals too fast to be perceived normally. Even skilled Sharingan users had difficulty keeping track of him. His speed allowed him to immediately move great distances in an instant, as if by displacing himself, giving his opponent little chance to react or initiate a counterattack. His physical strength is also noteworthy, able to casually backhand Sasuke and make him badly bleed and knock him out with a few punches, as well as crush his hand with ease, and could even clash with Kasami wielding Samehada and Sasuke's sword evenly. Consistent with his pacifist nature, Itachi specialized in Genjutsu, where the illusions would typically involve crows. Regarded as one of Konoha's best users, even without the aid of his Sharingan, his illusions have remarkable potency, able to seamlessly affect his targets without them realizing it, while on guard, and also perform them by merely pointing at his target. He is noted by Ao to have such high prowess that he could use Genjutsu to control other individuals outside the range of even the Sensor Division. Itachi could also use Genjutsu to share information or psychologically disable opponents, letting him end the fight instantly. Itachi awakened the Sharingan at age 8 after witnessing his teammate Tenma Izumo's death, and soon after mastered it. From a young age, he demonstrated skill and power superior to most members of his clan. In the anime, his prowess and exploits with it earned him great fame as Itachi of the Sharingan. He tends to keep his Sharingan active near constantly with minimal drain on his chakra levels. The Sharingan allows Itachi to see the flow of chakra, predict movements, as well as facilitate his use of Genjutsu. Against other Genjutsu users, he could turn their Genjutsu against them. Also, with the Sharingan he could perform Izanami, a counterpart to the more dangerous Izanagi. Itachi awakened the Manjukam Sharingan after witnessing Shisui's suicide. Its design was 3 spiraling curves around the pupil. With both eyes, he could use Tsukiyomi, a Genjutsu that trapped opponents' minds in an illusory world, altering their perception of time. With his right eye he could use Amaterasu, igniting whatever he looked at with black flames that would burn anything, including fire itself. He had the ability to extinguish Amaterasu. Having awakened the Manjukam in both his eyes, Itachi could also use Susanoo. With its simplest manifestations, he could produce extra arms or bones to improve his options in a fight. When used in full, Itachi was surrounded by a spectral warrior that would protect him from damage. In addition to the chakra swords and Yosaka Magatama common to all Susanoo, Itachi's Susanoo wielded the sword of Totsuka, an ethereal sword, with the ability to seal any person it pierced into its gourd hilt, and the Yata mirror, a shield that was said to reflect any attack by changing its chakra nature to counterbalance an attack. The simultaneous use of both weapons made Itachi's Susanoo essentially invincible. Using any of these techniques required large amounts of chakra. If he used these techniques too often in a short span of time, Itachi would become so fatigued that he would deactivate his Sharingan altogether. Every time he used his Manjukum Sharingan, his eyesight deteriorated, a process that would progressively worsen on each occasion. Early uses of the Manjukum would only cause his eyes to bleed, but by the end of his life he reached the point where he was nearly blind, most things looking to him like mere blurs. He does not suffer these shortcomings after his reincarnation and can use all his Manjukum techniques without problems.